Howdy, it's mrpete222 again, and this is episode number 43 of my This and That series. I really wish a lot more people would watch this because I have a lot of announcements and thank yous and things like that. Interesting things, I think, in this series, but interest or viewers have slackened on that. But also follow me on Instagram, if you will. I put some of the stuff on there too that I think is interesting. But as I start this, there will be upcoming a 10-part video series on the restoration of this 1x42-inch band sander. So check that out. It's not published as of Christmas 2018. And then I also have done a video that's unpublished on this little Kurt vise where I make keys that will fit into the T-slot. So check that out. And there's a lot of other videos still pending, probably about 20 of them that are in the can that you haven't seen yet. So let me show you a few other things that are going on and I'm going to make videos of, and I think you'll enjoy them, and continue to watch my videos and support me. I thank you very much for that, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all of you. Just yesterday I spent the day, pretty much the morning and part of the afternoon, over in Ottawa, Illinois at Lost Creek Machine. Many of you people know of that place and have been there. They're machinery dealers run by the Krug brothers, and it's just a wonderful place to visit. Now I'm doing a video on that, so it's just a short video where I walk through it. I do call it a field trip of sorts. But several things happened there. Number one, a man showed up that had one of the band sanders that I have shown you many times in my videos that was a Peterson product. So we'll take a look at that real quick. I have a picture of that I will show you, but that will also be included in that field trip that I told you. Also, Matt is going to give me a bandsaw. It's a Powermatic wood cutting bandsaw that I'm going to convert. It's just in terrible condition, that's why he's giving it away. So I'll show you a picture of that, and that will be upcoming as well. This is a picture of the 14-inch Powermatic that I will convert. It's wood cutting right now. A lot of you have been watching the series that I made on converting the Delta 14-inch bandsaw wood cutting into metal cutting, and I'm still not done with that. On the one coming up that I'm working on right now, I'm putting a VFD on it with a 3-phase motor, because the last one, of course, was this DC motor, which was, these are experiments. But I'll also be putting that VFD on that Powermatic that I just mentioned, so be sure and watch for that when that is available. We'll see whether or not that works out. And I know this isn't a good picture, but this is the one and only band sander, Peterson products, that I have seen in 40 years, and it's not hooked up. It's finished, but it doesn't have a motor on it. Remember the third wheel was on the motor, and it also uses a 1x42-inch, but this is all aluminum. So it was really neat that a man brought this clear from Peoria, Illinois to show me. And that will be in that other video too, the field trip, so check it out. A man I know in Indiana by the name of Ron is going to give me this South Bend shaper. And there it is in operation. He sent me a video clip the other day, and I will go over there sometime in January and pick that up. Hope to make many videos with it, so thank you, Ron, very much. I know that was a rather long introduction, and I'm just now starting the actual video, so I have so much to tell you and show you. But in the mail I received from Kevin Toppenberg, and he lives down in Greenville, Tennessee. He went to FabTech, which was down in Atlanta recently. He went to the Starrett display. Everybody knows I love my Starrett tools, so he sends me a Starrett flash drive, and thank you, Kevin, and the latest copy here of the Starrett catalog, which is about, what, three quarters of an inch thick. Notice that a lot of the tools now are electronic metrology tools, although they show one of their wonderful micrometers here. But there's been a change in the industry, as you know. Carl Lawn of Bloomington, Illinois sent me something that is really neat. Now, any of you that have an Atlas lathe, whether you take the compound off or one of the other attachments, or this is the milling attachment for Atlas Craftsman, there's a tendency to lose the little pins that go in here. Well, look how I keep mine, in a little baggie with a piece of copper around, and it's always been a chore to keep track of those. You don't want to lose those, and they're hard, and you could make them, but why would you want to? Just hang on to them, but they're so small. So you will recall one video I made a long time ago where I bought something that was Atlas, and somebody had a chunk of wood stuck in there, and I thought, boy, that's ugly. Well, they just cut a piece of wood lath and, you know, tighten it down so they wouldn't lose those. But Carl came up with these, the design for this. That's the round dovetail that will go in here, and then if you would just tighten this down with your fingers, those pins would be captive. So this is just a keeper. So he sent me a couple of those, and I really like them. It's just a swell idea. Now he has those on Thingiverse here, and there's the number for it. For those of you that do 3D printing, you could print yourself out some without doing any of the CAD work. So thank you, Carl. That was pretty clever. You know, I went to college in Bloomington Normal. Pretty familiar with the city. This is a bit of a gripe, and I really shouldn't do this, but I bought these batteries in December of 2015. Well, that's 3 years ago, granted. But whenever I get a good price, I really like to stock up on them because the grandkids come over here and steal my batteries. But I went to get some out, and this was a sealed package last week. And look at the leakage on these batteries. And I had 2 packages of them that are leaking like that. I took one of the batteries out, and the date on the battery is 2025. So real hard to see, but it's 2025. Now, can you hear Henry upstairs banging on the floor? That's my Henry, and so I just lost my concentration, and my granddaughter came in too. So let me finish up here. And then in a store one time, I was with my buddy Russ, and he's looking through batteries, and he saw the same thing in the store. He told the clerk, and the clerk didn't care one bit. I got a wonderful Christmas present in the mail the other day from Michael Bucciaroni, and he's from New Jersey. Thank you, Michael, ever so much. And it's this pristine, probably brand new die maker square. And I had talked about this in one of my videos, and he saw the video and sent this to me. And there it is, along with the extra blade. And this is an adjustable square, and it reads from 0 to 10 degrees. I've already used it in a video, so watch for that video. And I believe they still make this model. Well, of course they make it. Here it is in the catalog I showed you just a few moments ago. Dave Pigeon from out in Vermont sent me about 10 of these little calendars, and they can stick onto the dashboard or the wall near your workbench or whatever. And last year he sent me one, and I told him I just loved those, so this year he sent me a whole bunch of them. So thank you, David. Do you remember last year when my buddy Russ, who used to teach auto with me, gave me this nice set of serif micrometers? You know, his uncles, I told a story before, his uncles were slumlords in Chicago. They were bachelor men, and they would often accept merchandise, guns, whatever, in lieu of rental payments because people didn't have the cash, but they sometimes had neat things. So they had a lot of stuff. But then, and Russ is kind of cleaning out. He's a lot younger than me, but he's always cleaning out. And we went to lunch together, and he said, here's something else for you. He said, I know you like Starrett. So there it is. From Russ in the box. However, it is metric. No name on it. Perfect condition, so isn't that nice? Thank you, Russ. You all remember Palmer Moynihan, the tall man from Texas, good friend of mine from Fort Worth. Well, he gave me that VFD that's going to be on the bandsaw and the motor. This was on the motor. And he said, you need to start using this type of pulley with the appropriate belt. So then, I've had that for 6 months. So then in the mail the other day he sent me a couple of the belts, and there they are, brand new. And I'd like to use these on the bandsaw. I don't know if these are the right lengths, but I really don't know where to buy these in the larger size. I did internet search and eBay search, and I found more of this size, but I need bigger ones. And I really think it's an automotive item. I couldn't find it in Granger or some of the other catalogs, so I just don't know anything about this 6-groove system other than they tell me it won't slip. Thanks, Palmer. I sure have been talking a lot about Starrett in this video, and recently a man from Alabama. That's a neat state. I think I've told you, I've traveled through Alabama several times. I really like Alabama. And he went to a flea market or a shop or whatever, it's called Calhoun Pickers, and found this Starrett tape and bought it and sent it to me. It's a 50-footer. So thanks to you, and his name is Clint. I don't think I'll give you his last name, so thank you, Clint. And you know, this kind of ironic, because I had a real long one like this. You know, I was setting up that closing mill and I was measuring for the electrical cord. So I stretched it was a really good tape. I stretched it out full length. Well, it was early in the morning and it was all wet and full of grass. So I just laid it in the garage on the floor. I thought it'll dry out later in the day. I'll crank it up, put it away. Well, in the meantime, my wife drove the car in over it and just totally mutilated it and kinked it and ruined it. I had to throw it away. And you know what? I've been a good boy. I didn't even say, I never mentioned it to her. And look what I got in the mail the other day from Jim Dedmon. And he is from North Carolina. And he has a channel. By the way, here's his sticker, Jim Dedmon. And the name of his channel is James Dedmon on YouTube, so check it out. So he made for me a couple of these oilers. You know, we're all into these spill-proof oilers, and they're homemade. And he told me what kind of jar he started with. I don't remember if it was something he had to buy or it was peanut butter. But they're spill-proof. They got a lid. I probably will never use the lid. But it'd be nice to put, let's say, cutting oil in one and maybe kerosene or something in the other. Won't spill. And you can tell how much you got left. And the thing I like about this is that they're cleanable. Some of the ones that I have, and don't get me wrong, I like them, but there isn't any good way to get the swarf out of there. This is cleanable. It's pretty stable. I don't really like a magnet on them. A lot of people talked about magnets, and I do have magnets on some of them, but they just are a nuisance in attracting the metal chips, the steel chips. So thank you, Jim, for these. Thank you, Wayne Fitch, and you all know Wayne. He's the one that I bartered for the little vise. And he's also from Fort Worth. Sent me, there's a carbide cutter that looks like it's a 1/2 inch. I think this one is broken, but it'll be good on the sides. Boy, that carbide is heavy. Some 1/4 inch extra long drill bits, split point, brand new. And in the Walgreens bottle, a bunch of end mills, 1/4 inch, 3/8, solid carbide. Thank you, Wayne. You know what? This is a plea for help here from people that can create the files for 3D printing. My neighbor Rich, the gunsmith, sent me these images here off of the internet, and these are drill stands. They were die cast. These are antiques worth quite a bit of money. Die cast, so they would be hollow. I'm not interested in the ones for the number bits. I'm interested in fractionals, and my dad had one of these in fractional. Nice heavy zinc, but the idea here is I would like to have a 3D pattern that I could cast aluminum ones out of. And of course the holes would have to be drilled. You wouldn't attempt to cast those in. And this is the preferred one, because this Alamite one here, you need to have the numbers on the outside rather than on the flat part here. So if anybody can do that, well, do it and send me the images. I'm sure they'll need some correcting or modification. Also, for 3D printing, this goes on a drill press column. You know, the pipe goes here, round pipe of course, and there'd be a bracket here, or you could use a hose clamp or some other means, but this is meant to hold your chuck key and maybe a few other little doodads here, and an oil can on the column. And that would be nice to have 3D printed solid, and you would just use it as plastic, or 3D printed as a pattern that I could cast out of aluminum. But of course that would have to have the pattern draft on it. So, and that's for a 2 3/4 inch column on a drill press, which I believe is the standard size. And it's just flat back on the back side. Isn't that a beautiful car? That's a 52 Chevy Bel Air. And Randy Ober from Ober Automotive Warehouse down in Greensboro, Maryland, sent me this beautiful calendar. And also, and there's his business card, a bit of a joke here. South Bend, no way oil. South Bent, I should say. South Bent. And of course it's empty. No way. Thank you, Randy. A real big thanks to Joseph Durnia, and he's also from New Jersey, and I just got this the other day from him. And these were toys that he had when he was a little boy, and they need a little bit of work here. But this is the line shaft, and these are AHI toys. And this is all tin, steel. So I will repair this, and he just said that I rekindled his interest in some of this stuff. But he said as a boy, his dad bought him this stuff, but never had the engine, the steam engine, or a little electric motor or anything to run them. So there's the belts, probably need replacing. And there are 4 miniature tools here that will run off of the line shaft. There's a lathe, and this is die cast. There's the logo. When I said RHI brand toys. Rather precision. I believe it's probably missing the wheel. You know, boys lost things or destroyed them. Children do, you know that. That's just their nature. I was a destroyer myself. Here's a little punch press. Possibly something is missing from in here, I don't know. And I think they made several other attachments besides what I have here. And here is a tiny milling machine, but I was able to find images on the internet, and the table, there would have been, you know, the milling machine table, and you can see that's broken off and missing, but even had a lock. And there probably was an overarm support, I'm not real sure. Japan, all die cast, neat colors. Could run it at different speeds. It would help children to understand ratios. There's a little screw. I need to find out where that goes and make sure that nothing else came loose. But eventually what I want to do here is get these into running order. I don't think I'll go so far as to try to make a table for this, but get these all mounted on the board along with either one of my little electric motors or possibly one of the little steam engines. And that's the way they show it in the images. You could buy, I suppose, a different toy each Christmas or each birthday so that the child had a complete setup. This, of course, wouldn't sell now. Kids want one of these. Well, that completes this very, very long video. Hope you liked it. Be sure and watch my other videos. I hope I didn't miss anybody in regards to things that you have sent me. A couple things I'm holding out for next time. And I thank you again for watching, and you can leave a comment if it's nice. And this is tubalcain saying so long for now.